most of us have spent roughly 13 years learning in a classroom, retaining information from teachers all through different grade levels. And the odds are we can all remember at least one teacher that made a huge impact in our lives. In the short survey that I gave all of you, you all said that there is at least one teacher that had an impact on you and changed your life drastically. Teachers do not make enough money and deserve a higher pay. I myself have attended public school for 13 years now and have heard about the terrible teacher pay. Although Indiana struggles to find the match, these teachers are fighting every day to make their jobs just a little bit better. I myself have looked into being a teacher, and I've seen all of my teachers participate in the Red for Ed movement down in Indianapolis, and this movement helped me learn a lot about the issues that they're fighting for. With these teachers, I've seen many of them struggle having to get second jobs and taking care of their children while being a teacher and taking care of all of those children in their classroom. Teaching is difficult and unappealing, and that's why many people don't want to do it, but teachers will always be needed. Although it may sound like teachers have little work hours because they're only working 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, 9 months out of the year. That's not true. A lot of them are working outside of the classroom, at home, staying after school, before school, and so much more. Teachers on top of this have to get a college education, and a lot of them are struggling to pay off their debt. The solution I bring to you today is to raise teacher pay by funding schools more and funding standardized testing less. This continues to my next point that I asked you earlier. Would you ever consider to be a teacher? 2 out of 5 of you said that you would never consider becoming a teacher. And that's because I mentioned earlier that teaching is just difficult and unappealing. Teachers do so much more than teach the curriculum in their classrooms. Teachers teach students differences that leads them to becoming better individuals. They build bonds with students and do so much more than they have to do. Paying teachers according to the student achievement, questions regarding pay for performance models in public education was written by James Callier in January of 2010. And according to this study, elementary, middle, and high school teachers are more often instructors. They are disciplinarians, counselors, and so forth. They have to multitask when managing the classroom, and therefore teachers perform many roles. I have also firsthand experience seeing my own teachers do more than teach. Many of my teachers sit and work with students who are struggling in and out of the classroom. My teachers have put time aside, before, after, and extra hours of prep into their students where they reteach material that they've already gone over once. It's not their job to do this, but many of them make it their job. But on top of all this, teachers don't just work normal school hours. How much do you think teachers spend outside the classroom working? In the survey that I talked about earlier, you all said that teachers spend 3 or less hours off school working, but that's far from true. Teachers spend hours outside of the classroom so that they can have a more effective classroom teaching their students. Although the average school day is only 6.7 hours, many teachers are required to arrive an hour early in the morning, and many stay after school planning and grading. EdTech published How Many Hours Do Educators Actually Work? Written by Corey Murray in 2013. Corey is a veteran educator, writer, and content producer. He currently serves as the managing editor for EdTech and focuses on K-12 material. He's been mentioned and worked on many publications in print and online, but in this specific article, Corey explained that teachers often work 12-hour days, but only make about $49,000 a year. They only work 9 months out of the year though, so that should be okay. If you believe that, then you probably don't know many teachers. Or as the infograph shows, most teachers devote a good portion of their summer break to preparing for the upcoming school year. This includes 2 to 4 weeks for curriculum planning and another 4 weeks for training, classroom setup, and preparation. These hours further increase when you factor in the time teachers spend learning how to use and integrate technology. Teachers weren't born with laptops put into their hands like generations today, and they're still struggling to learn how to teach these children with these technologies. Once again, this issue is in my own school, and I've seen it firsthandly. Many of my teachers travel to work development workshops, grade papers outside of school, and offer after-school study sessions and things to do to enhance curriculum, education, and general experience. In my visual aid, you'll see 3 pictures. Those 3 pictures are from a trip that one of my teachers put together for students to go to St. Louis, where we're from Indiana, to explore the country because he knows that many families don't get to take their kids out on vacation. This teacher did this without any bonuses of having to spend all day for 4 days watching these children. These are just 2 of the major issues that teachers face on a daily basis. But we need to raise teacher pay so that these issues are less drastic. And I told you earlier, we can do this by funding schools more and funding standardized testing less. Journal and Courier published an article by Emily Detler in August of 2019. With a poll by the Indiana State University, they found that 94% of polled superintendents believe that they will experience a teacher shortage. This was found in open jobs, emergency license, and small candidate pools. Plus, there's just areas that are less or more poverty, and those are where the teacher shortages are worse. With teacher shortages, it really is hard for schools to fill positions. This leads to teachers getting jobs that have licenses and an education in the subjects that they're teaching. So it's not fair to the students, is it? You don't want your student's English teacher teaching them math. Teachers in my district have a very wide span of pay, which is why I looked at the employee compensation report and found that some teachers are making less than $40,000 a year. These are teachers with college degrees and years of experience. But with these kinds of salaries, it's easy to see why so many people don't want to teach. I propose that the government starts to spend less on standardized testing and put that money towards the teacher pay. This is a general idea that's been on for years. Think about it this way. If less money was spent on standardized testing and more went to teacher pay, more people would want to teach, which would avoid the teacher shortage. It would also reward teachers to work better and enjoy their job more. The No Child Left Behind Act influenced more standardized testing, and the amount of time spent on reading had grown, but the scores didn't go up. The standardized testing only showed that wealthier areas were better than the areas with more poverty, and that's been the same for the last 20 years. So it's time to take a change. The Atlantic is a magazine founded in 1857, and this article I found had information and was in elementary education has gone terribly wrong. This was written by Natalie Wexler in August of 2019. And the reason I present to you this information is that the Atlantic is all the money spent on standardized testing isn't benefiting the students. You all agreed with this as when I asked you in the survey if you benefited from standardized testing. And 3 out of 5 of you said that you didn't. So what are the other 2 doing? And that's why I say that we need to fix this. Teachers make a huge difference in our lives, and teachers do so much more than teach. Teachers spend more time outside of the classroom than almost any other profession does outside. So I say we need to pay teachers more and cut standardized testing. This is where you come in. Even if you are not a teacher or a student, you can make a difference by voting in local, state, and national levels for candidates who are supporting the Red for Ed movement. Before you ask yourself, is this worth your time? I want you to think about what you told me earlier. Where would you be now if you never got an education, and how would your life be different if you didn't have teachers? In fact, I can answer this for all of you already. All 5 of you said that your life would be different without teachers. So why are we pushing them away?